Hello everyone! More than 70% of the planet Earth is covered by water. Just think about this number. In fact, we live on a small piece of land surrounded by deep waters that hide lots of terrible things. Fortunately, we don't have to go down to the bottom of the sea every day, but divers often find things that give everyone goosebumps. Get ready, today we will show you some incredible things. Let's get it on! Monster fish. Our first dive will take us to a very special place, namely to Lake Neuchâtel in Switzerland. Its maximum depth is 152 meters. It's so deep that it definitely must hide some creepy monster, don't you think? At first, the flashlights only illuminate the stones and algae, but what is this strange silhouette? It's a huge toothed and scary fish that looks like a hybrid between a crazy shark and an anglerfish. Imagine seeing this creature through a foggy mask. Would you realize it's just a sculpture before you have a heart attack? Of course, local divers know this place very well and think it's a prop that was left here after being used for a movie. Luckily, it doesn't move, but the fish around it have also frozen suspiciously. What if this monster is ready to close its jaws at any moment? Underwater missile silo. In all movies and video games, abandoned nuclear bunkers look more or less the same, and they all seem frightening. Terrible black and yellow signs on the walls, huge doors, and a deadly silence. Now imagine all this, but in real life and at a depth of 33.5 meters underwater. If you're a fan of extreme diving, you can visit this place in Washington. It is the partially flooded Titan missile silo. Its mines were designed to launch nuclear missiles, but now there are no missiles left. However, you should not press the red button. The facility is built to withstand a huge explosion on the surface, so everything in it reminds us of the terrible nuclear danger. Maybe swimming here is more frightening than playing stalker alone, at home, in the dark. Ghosts of War. Probably one of the scariest military underwater cemeteries is located at the bottom of Chuuk Lagoon in Micronesia. More than 50 ships are buried here, along with the remains of different planes. All of them ended up in this place as a result of a terrible battle during World War II. The lagoon was used by the Japanese troops as a naval base, and on February 17, 1944, the United States dealt it a devastating blow. Air and submarine attacks continued for 2 days, killing more than 1,000 people, destroying 13 warships and 32 merchant ships, and shooting down 270 planes. This place clearly does not have the best vibes. Most of the equipment is perfectly preserved, but we would not risk going inside since the bodies of some soldiers have never been recovered. Scary ship. We've got news for those who long to find a sunken treasure. Explorers have beaten you to it and found a ship full of gold and silver coins at the bottom of the Baltic Sea. But don't get upset, it's unlikely you would dare touch them anyway. The fact is that in addition to the jewels, the bodies of more than 800 sailors are inside the ship Mars, so the treasure is literally protected by skeletons. By the way, the wooden ship sank as a result of the explosion of the cannons on the deck in 1564, but it's still in a really good shape. Don't you find that suspicious? According to legend, a ghost rose from the depths of the sea to protect the ship from being detected. But a few years ago, scientists found it. Do you think we should be worried? Gnomes in the lake. Forget about giant octopuses, Cthulhu, and megalodons. Simple objects at the bottom of the ocean look much creepier. Don't believe us? Then look at what a group of divers in Loch Fyne, Scotland have discovered at a depth of 30 meters. Garden gnomes! The appearance of one or two of them could be explained as an incredible coincidence, but where did this collection come from? Most of these figures have been underwater for years, but one figure looks new. Apparently, the owner added it recently. By the way, not far from this place, there's another lake, Loch Ness, where a very famous monster lives. Maybe it comes here to rest? Sunken City. Our next stop is China. If you feel uncomfortable walking alone on a deserted street at night, diving into an artificial lake at Zhejiang province will scare you even more. At a depth of 40 meters, there is a huge city about 1,400 years old. Although it's not the famous Atlantis, the impression caused by this place is remarkable. Imagine yourself among the ancient temples, walls with reliefs and paved roads, and not a single living soul around. Until the middle of the 20th century, the city of Xichang, also known as Lion City, was located on the surface, but in 1959, the authorities decided to flood it for the construction of a new power plant. Surprisingly, after so many years, even the wooden structures are still standing. Maybe time has stopped here? Alien in Russia. By the way, raise your hand if you've never tried diving. Now imagine that you finally decide to practice this fun sport. You're a little nervous and it's difficult to navigate in the muddy water, and suddenly you notice a huge xenomorph. Most likely, you'll be swimming out at a speed of several dozen knots and you'll need the help of a rescue party. However, divers in the Russian city of Anapa decided that a 3-meter copy of an alien at the bottom of the Black Sea is a great way to entertain tourists. The divers created it themselves using thousands of details and installed it with a crane. According to them, the sculpture of the alien monster will help tourists remember the visit for life. And we agree. Memorial Reef. At first glance, there's nothing scary about Neptune Artificial Reef in Florida. On the contrary, it's one of the most beautiful dive sites in the world. Check out these great objects of art. They look so good they might be Atlantis, right? However, there is one detail. These works of art are made of cement and human ashes. That's right, Neptune is a memorial reef. After the cremation, the ashes are mixed with construction material and become part of the underwater world forever, an idea that seemed to appeal to many people. By the way, the monument is open to all visitors. Besides the relatives of the people who rest here, many divers from all over the world come to Neptune. Just imagine this, they swim around a huge cemetery. Aren't they scared? On the other hand, it looks stunning. And you, would you like to go for a swim there? Crosses underwater. Do you think that the Canary Islands are the perfect place for a quiet vacation? Well, we know something that not one travel company would ever dare to tell you. Never dive on La Palma unless you're willing to end up with white hair. This is what awaits you at a depth of 20 meters. 40 creepy crosses covered with algae. The story of this installation is worthy of a horror movie. In 1570, the Portuguese missionary Inácio de Azevedo sailed with 39 companions to the coast of La Palma, but never made it ashore. The ship was captured by pirates. Its commander treated the crew in a really cruel manner. He threw the people into the sea and watched them slowly sink. In 2000, a monument was erected to commemorate the victims. We would not be surprised if there were ghosts in this place. Skeletons in the lake. We have probably found the place with the largest number of scary underwater objects in the world. It's Lake Mead in Arizona. Visibility here rarely exceeds 3 or 4 meters, so if the guide forgot to warn you, we are sure you will be frightened to death. Imagine that you are swimming and suddenly you see this, a skeleton in a cage and 2 of its guards, one of them with a gun. You will probably swim at full speed to the shore to call the police. What's up? But they will laugh at you. The authorities have known for a long time that the skeletons are fake. The divers installed them for fun. Apart from the 3 skeletons, you can also find floating heads and even hands sticking out of the bottom of the lake. This place is not for the faint of heart, is it? Slenderman underwater. We have a serious question for you. Have you noticed that there has been hardly any news about Slenderman lately? In 2018, the horror movie about Slenderman was released, and it seems that everyone forgot about this creature. But most likely, he is hiding in the waters of the Gulf of Thailand, off the Thai island of Koh Tao. At least that's what divers familiar with the character might think. There's a sculpture at the bottom of the bay that looks just like the legendary villain. The installation was displayed in 2016 by artist Valérie Goutard. According to her idea, the bronze figure should remind us of the fragility of man in nature. But what if they remind someone with fragile nerves of all the creepy stories shared on the internet? Lost settlement. A lobster scattered ancient artifacts and helped scientists find a mysterious civilization underwater. No, this is not the beginning of a new sci-fi movie, but a real story that happened in England. Researchers accidentally discovered a lobster throwing worked flints from its burrow off the coast of the Isle of Wight. For that reason, they decided to explore the area further. As a result, at the bottom of the strait, they found a Mesolithic settlement about 8,000 years old, several times older than the Egyptian pyramids. Even more surprising is the fact that the archaeologists found beautifully processed wood, construction beams, and even traces of perhaps the first ships in the world. It turns out that our ancestors were more advanced than we thought. Perhaps there's also a flying saucer base. Human gyre. Finally, let's go to the Atlantic Ocean. Have you noticed that it is a particularly problematic place for divers? A few years ago, off the coast of the Spanish island of Lanzarote, the first underwater museum in Europe was opened, El Museo Atlántico. Its collection includes more than 300 sculptures, but we have bad news for people who expect to see some fish or jellyfish among them. The main installation immediately tests the mental strength of the divers. It is a terrible gyre of 200 life-size human figures. Its author, Jason DeCaires Taylor, claims that it's a symbol of our relationship with water. But don't you think he just wanted to scare the poor visitors? Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action. Only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.